Absolutely. You could include the arms in it. Absolutely. So again, we're starting to bring in other planes, but just so you can see, and then I come back to the rotation, what's happened to the rotation. So we'll often use, just as many of you have been doing, another plane of movement in there, and then we go back to the original movement and see what's that done to it. Okay, last group. We'll come over to your corner. Twisting and rotation are the same thing. Twisting, though, is normally one way going one way and the other. So, for example, if I was driving and I had a seat belt on me, which is going to constrain me a little bit, what would I use to look behind me? I'd need more the twisting, rather than the rolling, because I can't do it. There's no room to do rolling. Yeah, when I'm driving, I don't want to be shifting my weight as if I was on a motorbike. So motorbikes very different again, because they're using much more of their pelvis. If you know how to bring one shoulder forward and one shoulder back, do you need to rise up in your pelvis? Oh, well then. Well, it makes sense. It's a little bit like, if I don't know how to rotate around my centre, if I shift, I've got this great big round hip joint, just as we were doing in sitting over here, to begin to shift my weight around. Again, you can't twist if you don't have length, can you? If you're short, just do that again, Joel. You can't twist. Rotation requires length.
Both of them are rotation. There's twisting and there's rolling. And
you were talking about one way to rolling, you were rolling one side, right? The legs and the face were that way. But you still stretch, and there's a little bit of twisting there, but not a lot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This one, right?
Look at what's happening in the torso. That's what you're interested in. Yeah? Don't get too stuck in it. Just think that there's something happening in the here. Yeah, down you go. All you've got to think, all these are having to twist, turn or rotate, doesn't matter. Whereas if I was just go on your side, yep, put your arm and leg up in the air, like we were this morning. So this one, if we do them together, I can really just do that over my underneath hip and shoulder. There's nothing really changing in my spine necessarily. That's more a rolling, but I could make it a roll with rotation if one, or if I made it, that's got rotation in it now, yeah? But as soon as you bring this in, you know that you're going to have, you can't do that without rotation. Yeah, through the spine. No?
If you've got someone with a back injury, how would you know, like, twisting or rotating or just rolling? If you were presented with someone with a back injury, would rolling or twisting not be an option? Just rolling?
I'd have to see how they move.
You'd have to see. Mm.
Mm. Mm. Mm. Absolutely depends on the person.
But also, would you kind of not go to where the pain is? Would you go to where there's no movement or something?
You wouldn't go to where there was no movement.
No, but what I mean is you're not trying to address the back, you're trying to integrate
Absolutely. More of them
back
in the picture.
So that one part of it isn't always doing everything.
And the biggest thing with anyone who's in pain, your first criteria is to make their current level of comfort more comfortable. That's your first, to calm their system. Yeah? Just to let them calm down.
Sounds like the hardest thing. It sounds like that's one of the biggest challenges, like if you're presented with someone that is just to get them to, you know,
and that's where, and so you have to know how to make yourself comfortable. Yeah, that's what this whole process is about. If you don't know how to make yourself more comfortable, what's going to happen is if you're with someone who's uncomfortable, your discomfort is probably going to get in the way. Yeah? So that's where it's really important. What have I learnt so far that I can calm my system? And maybe for you, that you were doing so beautifully before. Yeah. But that's what we're learning. How do I calm my system? Yeah? How do I get it into a place where I can learn? And learning means that I'm open to possibilities. I'm open to trying something a little bit different. But I can't do that if I'm in a high alert state. Yeah. It's like that thing, you know, as I said, we just had this wonderful physio come and talk to us in Perth, and she works a lot with newborns and babies, and, you know, she said all parents know this, you know, that you're at somewhere and they're all playing and having a good time, and then you see the speed start to pick up of whatever they're doing, and that's when you've got to go in. Slow them down, give them something else, because if you don't, it's going to escalate very quickly. So how do you find that calm, alert state where any of us can take input? We don't take much input when we're feeling angry or in a high emotional state. So that ability to settle the system, that ability to bring it into a learning state is really important.
So what do you do if you're having a bad day and you've got clients and you just calm yourself down? Do you?
I think you'd find, I'm sure you two can say the same thing, usually working calms me down. It takes me immediately into a place of, I can be in not a good mood sometimes, and I start working and everything just, because that place is so familiar to me. Yeah. So always think, anyone with pain. The length, you mean?
Lengthening, yeah. So lengthening, how that makes it easier to rotate. Can you explain that a little bit more, like why lengthening makes it? Because it really is very hard when you're down here And I guess it's got to do with our anatomy and how everything's
So
set up.
feel, if you make yourself shorter in the front, yeah? What have you had to do to make yourself shorter?
I've flexed myself
Yeah?
forward,
So where are you working harder?
lower back
Mm-hmm.
and here and here.
Mm-hmm. So if you can imagine the skeleton, yeah, and what's going to let us turn all these little vertebrae in here, if the big muscles are holding me down here, yeah, I've automatically blocked anything back here from turning, yeah. So it just can't turn. But as soon as I've got that freedom here, then all of this can turn. Yeah? Or it's a little bit like, you know, if you think of wringing something out, if you want to twist it, it's got to be longer to do it. Twisting's always going to make something longer. So even, do you mind me using you, Sarah, on your side? So Sarah really likes having her knees bent up quite a long way. Yeah? And you would have done most of the lesson in that position this morning. Yeah? So this is something that makes her feel comfortable. So she's in a learning place here. So even though I sort of suggested taking your legs longer and putting them in different positions, Sarah would sort of keep coming back to this position. So I know that she can learn something. So if you can put your hand on your forehead. So here, in this position, even though I know to do this, she has to be shorter in here because she's longer on her back. Can you all see that? And she's shorter on a front surface. Yeah, can everyone see that? So when Sarah goes back and then she gets here, yeah, so she uses a lot of side bending to go back. Yeah, so because she's in a little bit of flexion, she uses side. Can you see this side's getting longer and this side's getting shorter, and you can feel that. Yeah. Yeah. And she's doing it absolutely beautifully. Her quality was wonderful. Okay. Because if I bring her legs down here and I don't think about it and I just go, oh, bring them down here. No? This is still holding on. Can you feel? Yeah, this is still quite tight in here. She's pretty long here, but this part of her upper belly is still got quite, can you feel that? She's probably not, yeah? So now if she tries to go back, even though we've got a longer, back you go, and you can see the breath hold? Yeah? Because she's not in the place that's easier for her to begin with. Yeah? Take her back to where she's comfortable. Because she will gradually learn how to get that within what's possible for her. Yeah? So rotation is, if you think in organisational terms, if I can rotate, and that's why if you have a stand up, Sarah, if you don't mind me using you as a demo, and you can face me or them, yes. Okay, so if Sarah went to turn around herself, if I just said turn, I know that she's probably going to shift a weight. Yeah? Which leg do you shift to? She can do either, really. She's pretty multi. Yeah? Because then she can come up over one of her hip joints. Huh? So she can use that side bending again to come up and around her hip joint. So it wouldn't be as easy for her to stay exactly in the middle and turn. Huh? Can you feel that on yourselves? Yeah? I know we've sort of done it before, but you know, just need more and more approximations of it. So feel if I'm going to go to one leg, I'm going to get longer usually, or shorter, I can do either, but there's going to probably be a bit of side bending in there, yeah? With the turning. Whereas if you stay exactly in the middle, it doesn't mean you're not going to shift your weight, but for pure turning, your weight will do this on your feet. One will go backwards and one will go forward. The weight on one will go back to the heel, the other one will go forward to the toes. And can you feel that opens up a lot more movement through your thoracic spine? Is there anyone who's having trouble feeling that? So that's why, you know, this is such a lovely movement to do it, because you're keeping your arms horizontal and the legs are just going side to side. So it's like the one we did this morning. You're keeping these parallel lines of length, if you like, as you're doing the rolling forward and back. So it's really constraining you into finding the twist. But you will always find, as someone gets better organised, so will their rotation. And that's why at the end of a lesson, so often, especially, you know, he'll say, look around yourself. Because if you're really around your midline, every single part of you will just go. If you've really found your length. But as I said, you can only find your length through finding all of these different planes of movement.
When you were showing Sarah in a different position, what you're saying here, as you get more organised through here, you actually be able to go.
Absolutely. So if Sarah, you know, has a little bit of a tendency that she would rather have her legs flexed a little bit inside lying. Yeah? So if you all do that a little bit, yeah, and you went to turn, yeah. Because all of these belly muscles haven't yet found out well, it's not just the belly muscles, haven't found out all of these different possibilities of expanding and contracting. And we get that through knowing these different planes of movement. Yeah. So it's a little bit like if I go back to my mum, okay, so here she is, she starts off with 2 elbow crutches. Yeah? She's got, so if you imagine you've got 2 elbow crutches, yeah? Off you go, 2 elbow crutches you've got. Yeah? Can you feel that if I'm using both elbow crutches in this way, I'm going to have weight on them? It wouldn't make sense to have them unless in this position I had weight on them. Yeah? So then she does 2 crutches first, and then she takes a step. She does 2 crutches first, then she takes a step. Yeah? 2 crutches first, she takes a step. So can you feel you'd have a fair bit of weight on those 2 crutches to let you mobilise yourself through space? Yeah? So again, so there she is. So if she's there, actually, should show the video. We took a little video, but the light's not that good. Then, so she did that. She was feeling really confident. She'd found her heels, so she was, you know, moving along a bit of a pace, getting a bit. So then the next thing is, what do you want it to do? You want it to get this pattern. Huh? Pump. Pump. Yeah? And that makes sense in terms of, yeah, if we want to get her onto one stick, yeah, she has to learn a different way. She can't use this and get on one leg. Yeah, when she's still got all those points. So if we have it, this is beautiful, go. And look what's happening through her pelvis now. So all of a sudden, Mum has to learn how to stabilise and to organise all of these hip muscles that she hasn't been using because she's had so much pain. Go back to the other way again for a moment, Shanna. So here she doesn't really have to learn much around here. Yeah? She doesn't have to really activate all these stabilisers. So see if you can feel that on yourselves. Yeah? So when you've got two sticks and you're just walking, yeah, you don't have to do much in your torso at all, really. But as soon as I say to you, can you do the opposite arm and leg together, what does your pelvis have to learn to do? Yeah? Totally changes it. And of course it was hysterical because then she started thinking so much she couldn't do anything. So it was like, Mum, just get the first step and then just walk. You know, don't think. Because if she thinks too much, she'll drive herself crazy as well. So then it's not a big thing then from there to start her walking with one crutch, because she's already found out how to do all this, but we didn't have to do anything specific to make it happen. If I've already been doing that, which one do you think? If she had a right hip replacement, which stick in a left arm? Huh? Because of the pattern that we just set up. Yeah? Mm-hmm. But you can already feel that if I'm here on two sticks, how far can I turn? How much rotation do I have? Huh? And I'm gradually going to get further back, so I'm going to get a bit taller. Do I start to get a little bit more rotation the taller I get? Do I start to get a little bit more rotation the taller I get? Yeah? So as does that make sense? So as I'm getting this, it just opens up by itself. Yeah? Okay, let's see the last group over in the corner. And this was on your back. Who's leading the way? You can do one at a time.
And then,
so can you see there we're already bringing in a bit of side bending? Yeah? That would be different if both knees, yeah? Next one.
and then the next one, we're putting the right knee over the left and take down to the right.
And again, it's down to the right, so we know that there's going to be a little bit more side bending, that it's not a straight line going across. Yep.
And then, with the left arm raised above the head, not completely straight. And again, taking it down to the right. And just noticing what that might be doing.
Can you see what that's allowing to happen? If you did it on yourself, if you're not sure, hop, yeah. What would it be doing if both legs are going over there? You got one arm up here and it's getting a little bit longer. So that you can feel that if you're not sure, that you can bring the arm down and do the initial movement that they did, and then to put the arm up and feel what does it ask to get involved. Yeah. Yeah. Then yeah. Because obviously if you're pulling down in there, if all those muscles between your shoulder and your chest are really holding tight again, how can I turn? Huh?
So we had feet and knees together, hands and hands together. And you can just take the hands.
And again, really look for what's happening in the torso. This is where all the good stuff happens. Mm. And again, you can see the difference if the knees are together or if the knees are apart. So how far could you go easily if you were doing pure rotation like that? Yeah, before you fell over. What has to happen to make it easier? You have to put some side bending in there. Yeah? Yeah. Because we're not round balls, unfortunately. They're just... So again, you can really begin to see how the position of your arms and legs is going to really influence what parts of us are available to move. And again, what you're looking for here is how easy is it to change all this shape? How easily, for so many of us, this area between our ribs and our pelvis, to be able to change its shape instead of those abdominals always holding in very particular organisations. Yep. Any more? That's it? Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, yeah, because the Bruce, yeah. The Bruce bit. Bringing in the flexion. He started to bring in flexion as another way to do it. Yeah. Okay, so in your groups now, could you get a partner? So whichever group you were in, get a partner. No, let me just set this up first. Yeah, so everyone's got a partner? So now, if you were going to do something hands-on with your partner about rotation, any position you like, you've seen a lot, but you only to stay in one position. Yeah? So you've got 20 minutes, but you must stay in one orientation to explore rotation. Just so you can begin to feel what's the difference. As I said, you know, ATM, you often have to use the limbs to get all of this. So what happens when you've got your hands there? So any position you choose,